before I started getting into like emotional intelligence, when somebody was like talking to me, I'm gonna just say crazy. I would get very offended, and I'm like, "Nah, you got me messed up." We probably would be ready to throw hands. Welcome to the Personal Development Blueprint, the podcast that's all about leveling up and helping you become the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Jay Cope. Join me as we talk about different tools and strategies to help you navigate through everyday life, creating a blueprint for your personal growth. Let's get into it. Blueprint Crew. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. All of my ladies and my fellas. I just want to start off by just saying, I really appreciate y'all. You're just taking time out to come and listen to the show. And just the fact that you took time out of your day to come here and listen to me go on these little tangents, I appreciate that. And hopefully y'all can get something useful out of this episode. I've been marinating on this one, man. I've been marinating on this one. This has been the theme like the last couple of months, and I've been tested a lot. And there's stuff that I've been trying that's actually been working for me. So what am I even talking about? What am I even talking about? We all know that one person, they just seem like they got a cloud just always hanging over them, and that type of negativity, like I don't know about y'all, but that can really bring me down. Some of y'all might actually be able to relate. So how do we handle these situations, like without losing our own positivity, or like without getting our energy shifted or drained or different things like that? Because I'm telling you, I didn't do well with that. Like, I don't like being around a bunch of negativity. So that's pretty much what this episode is going to be about today. We're going to talk about how to deal with negative people. I got three strategies for y'all that I've been trying, and they've been working for me. So I figure I do a episode, and I put y'all up on game, let y'all know what's been working for me, and then maybe y'all can try it out and it might work for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first, like I said, we're gonna go over three strategies that work for me. Oh, and also too, for those who stick around to the end, we gotta hit y'all with the bonus tip. So bear with me, y'all. Just stick around to the end, and yeah, I had that bonus tip for y'all. So first up, we're gonna just go over the first point. Like I said, I got 3 points here. We'll go over the points one by one, and then just talk a little bit about each. So first up, because I know I can't be the only one. Like, so have y'all ever felt drained, like after a conversation with somebody? Like, you might have just been having the greatest day, and then you come in contact with somebody, y'all have a conversation, and then you just leave the conversation feeling drained. Well, if you can relate, that is the power of negativity, like in real time. So the fact, like, if someone's negative energy, you can just have a conversation with them, and it can literally change the dynamic of your day, and it can shift your energy. And this was the case with me. I could be having a great day, and I would just come in contact with different people that were just spewing negativity. And after the conversation, I just really felt drained. Then I started doing like research. I'm like, man, how can I deal with something like this? It's got to be another solution to it. And some of the stuff that I found, first up, let me back up. There is a couple things that we do have to understand, like about negativity. Negative people, a lot of times they do have a lot of reasons for the way that they look at life. And when they're complaining, it might not make sense to you, but the stuff that they're complaining about, or the negative outlook that they have on life, it makes sense to them. So that's one thing that we have to understand. Like they have reasons for the way that they look at life or whatever it is. And that could even include like personal struggles or past experience. We all, and I'm guilty myself. Like we all, based off past experiences, we react a certain way towards life situations. But this is just to give like an overview. Negative people, they often just went through personal struggles, past experience, or even it could even be a personality type. So understand, like we have to understand that their negativity is not necessarily about you. It's not about you. And that is key. I'm telling you, that part right there, understanding that their negativity is not necessarily about you. And like once you realize this, like once you realize that, it can help you distance yourself emotionally. Like not saying just shut down and turn into a rock or nothing like that. Just this person with no emotion, but you have to distance yourself emotionally or you will get caught up and it will rub you the wrong way and it will continue to shift your energy. Now you getting put in a bad energy space. So just keep that in mind. Their negativity is something that that's something that they have going on inside of them. It's not necessarily about you. So that's the first thing. We have to get that understood. A lot of times people will show you how they feel on the inside just based on the type of conversations that they're having. So if you know somebody that is constantly just talking about people, they talking about how bad the world is, how negative, how nothing just goes right for them, that's something internally that they are dealing with. So when you understand that and then you learn to not take it so personal. Now we're going to move on to the second tip. More recently, these past few months, I started practicing them a little bit more. And I'm still a work in progress. I haven't perfected it or anything like that, but I have noticed a difference when doing some of these things that I'm mentioning to y'all. So next up, we got setting boundaries. One of the most important, not even important, one of the most effective ways that I realize to deal with negative people is to just set boundaries. Set boundaries. So I'm gonna give you an example. So like, if you recognize that somebody is just constantly bringing negativity into your life, when you notice this, and again, we mentioned it earlier, that you'll notice that after conversations, you'll just feel drained. So, like, when you become more self aware and you start to actually notice this, it's time to set some limits. It's time to set some limits. And this could just mean, this could be as simple as just reducing the amount of time that you spend with that person. Or if it's somebody that you have to be around, and you can't necessarily get away from them, because it's easy to just say, reduce the time you spending around them. You don't be around that person. But some of us, whether it's work or like you're dealing with people at work, you just can't get away from it. So in those type of cases, you can try and steer the conversation away from like negative topics. That's something that works for me. I'll try to change the subject. Hey, how about them Tigers? Nah, I don't necessarily say that, but you get the you get the idea. Like if you notice that the conversation is just negative, you can just start talking about something positive or something different other than what they're talking about, and you can kind of guide that conversation away from that negative space. And it won't work all the time, but this is something that I've noticed more than a few times. It is worked. It has worked for me. And another thing with setting those boundaries, like, again, you have to limit the amount of stuff that you allow people to come and bring to you. And because a lot of times people will they will dump on you. And if you don't set the boundaries, they'll continue to do it. And I don't think they're purposely doing it. I just think that they might be going through something, or I don't know, it's like the human mind, it latches on to like the negative stuff more. I don't know. But when someone's coming, it's like they're dumping on you. Look at it like you have like this White House, and then somebody comes in muddy shoes. That remind me of that episode of Dave Chappelle. I think Rick James like put his boots on his white couch. All right, I'm getting sidetracked, but that kind of came to mind when I mentioned that. But just think about it like this: like you have a all white room, somebody just tracking some mud inside of your house. They stomping on your carpet, they leaving all of this muddy trail, and then they leave. Who's left to clean that mess up? This is how I look at it. If someone just comes and just dumps all of this negativity on me, and then they just go on about their happy little day, now I'm sitting there left to process all of this stuff that they just dumped on me. So I'm left to clean it up. So you have to be mindful of that type of stuff. And again, you have to limit that. Limit that. And if you feel like someone is going too far off into the deep end, you may have to speak up or even tell, hey, look, I gotta go. Like you don't have to be rude about it or whatever the case. And also, while I'm on the topic of this, just and some of y'all can relate to this too, but it might 2, 3 in the morning somebody calling you up telling you about some stuff that happened, some drama that happened, or something that they went through throughout the day. And I get it. I get it. Like y'all good people. Blueprint crew. We good people. I know you want to be that good friend. I know you want to be that listening ear. I got to be there for my friend. I got to be there for my boy. I got to be there for my girl. I get it. I get it. But you have to prioritize yourself. If you got to get up at 5 in the morning, somebody calling you at 2 o'clock, hey, you're going to have to catch me tomorrow. That does not make you less of a friend because you decided to choose yourself. Hey, I got to get up early. Like, so just different things like that. Noticing when you're being drained by interactions that you're having with people, put those boundaries in place. And again, those boundaries could be uh, either spending less time around those people, steering the conversations in a different way, and again, not continue just to allow people to come and dump their whatever it is that they're going through constantly on you. And again, I'm not saying that you can't be a friend. Sometimes you're gonna have to be there for your people. You know, they will need that shoulder to lean on. So I'm not just saying, hey, forget all your friends and don't look out and different stuff like that. But you do have to limit that stuff because at the end of the day, if you don't, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. So yeah, setting boundaries that super important. And boundaries are a power. I need water. 1 second. Boundaries are a part of self care. They're healthy, they're normal, and they are necessary. Like if you do not set the boundaries, people will I don't think that they do it on purpose, but they will cross those boundaries or they will overstep. And while we're on the subject of this, make sure that you are not that person. Make sure you're not the person that's constantly calling someone and just venting 24/7 because you cannot even know it and you might be crossing their boundaries and they might be trying to be nice by not saying nothing. And it's like, oh, that's my girl, or oh, that's my dog, or that's my man's. They gonna listen to what I gotta say. Yeah, but you have to be mindful. You're constantly doing that. You're crossing other people's boundaries. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. You got to find other outlets because you got to, if you really want to be a good friend, like you wouldn't want to just constantly dump that type of stuff on people. So that's the second one. That's setting boundaries, y'all. So again, remember that set your boundaries, and you don't have to. And another way to set boundaries if you just having conversations. Now, I work at just before we go to the next point. I want to give another example about setting boundaries. Now, I work at the casino and I deal with a large amount of negative people. People in there losing their money all day. So you can only imagine like the type of mind state, the mind frame that they are in. So a lot of times I get called over to talk to guests. I'm basically coming over to put out fires, and people are upset. They pissed off, and they really ain't trying to hear it. Like they just lost 5 grand. I'm coming up saying, "Hey, I'm smiling." They're not trying to hear that. They got frowns on their faces. They want to tell me how the machines are rigged. They're having a terrible experience. Like they start going on and on and on. And I had to understand that I can't take it personal. I could not take it personal. That was something that they were dealing with internally. So again, when I understood that part right there, it helped me to not take things personal. And that takes a little bit of something that we call emotional intelligence. If you haven't already heard that term, I actually did an episode on emotional intelligence. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave the I'll drop the link in the description below, and then you can check out that episode. So yeah, this does take a bit of emotional intelligence because I tell you, if this was me 10 years ago, before I started getting into like emotional intelligence, when somebody was like talking to me, I'm gonna just say crazy, I would get very offended, and I'm like, nah, you got me messed up. We probably would be ready to throw hands. But that was the younger me, and I didn't have emotional intelligence. I was in survival mode just based off the way that I was brought up. But I say all this to say, like, I'm constantly in these environments, and these things do work. Like I set those boundaries as well. Like even when I'm talking to guests, like if I feel like they're getting, a little bit too rowdy, I kindly tell them, like, sir, I'm being respectful to you, can you bring it down, or whatever the case might be. And it doesn't always go my way. I'm not by any means saying that, but I do notice that when I'm calm with it, and I'm just telling them, like, well, we don't gotta we can keep it respectful, just talking back and forth. A lot of the times they do mirror that energy, you know what I'm saying? So instead of me getting back loud with them and upset and yelling and stuff like that, I feel like you just throwing adding fuel to the fire, and that probably wouldn't end well. I'd probably lose my job or something like that. But no, I approach it with as calm as I can, and it does not work all the time, but a lot of the times it does. I notice the difference. So that's a boundary there, remaining calm and telling them, hey, let's keep it respectful. You don't have to sit there and take it. I'm not saying just be a pushover, because if they're crossing your boundaries, then you calmly let them know. And it's a difference when you're doing it in a calm way versus an aggressive way, you know. So yeah, just remain calm and hey, keep things respectful. Again, it goes back to setting boundaries. So set your boundaries, y'all. That's the more of that whole point. Dang, point two got kind of long. I feel like I went on a whole ramble right there. So we're gonna go into the third point. Now, the third point is you want to surround yourself with positive influence. Now, when you do this, it makes it a lot easier to manage negativity. So, just like I mentioned earlier, like when you having conversations with people, there's people that I have conversations with, and afterwards, I feel fired up, I feel inspired, I feel just happy, good, in good moods, and these are the people that you want to spend more time with, positive influences. So a lot of the guys that I keep close knit are guys that motivate me, inspire me, and it's nothing against everybody else, but these are the people that I spend the most time with, and it feel good to be around that energy, people that I go to the gym with. My boy Jalen, we go to the gym a lot. That's my 5 a.m. session buddy right there. Thursdays, I go with my brothers and one of my other close homies, J-Ro. We were just talking last week, and Jalen was there too. It was like 5 of us in the gym. Man, when I tell you the energy in the gym was crazy, and it was all good vibes, positive energies. Everybody just motivating and pushing each other. We not in there talking about people, talking about how life sucks and how nothing's fair, and just we in there just upping each other and just speaking life into each other. And that's the type of people that you want to spend more time with. And also my homies DJ and Mills, shout out both of them. We hit the gym too. And I talk to them a lot too, even like just outside of the gym. We recommend books to each other. We might go over goals that we set for the year and just different stuff like that. But this is the stuff that I'm talking about. Like whenever I talk to these guys, it's like a positive energy boost. It's not draining. It's not draining. Whenever we link up, or even if one of us like just shoot a random text message, it might be in the middle of the week. Hey, what's up, fellas? Hey, hope y'all having a good week. Just sending some good energy that way. It's the little stuff like that. Pay attention to those type of relationships, and spend more time with those type of people. So shout out my guys, man. Shout out my guys that's got positive influences on me. And don't get it twisted. There's a lot more. So if I didn't mention you, it ain't nothing personal. I just I can't think right now. I was just thinking off the top just to name a few. So surround yourself with positive influences. And one thing that you can take action on is you can, and this works for me. I'm telling y'all, it's like a little cheat code. Create like a positivity playlist, and this can be like songs, some podcasts, like just stuff that you can listen to. So when you do get caught into those modes where you ain't feeling the best, you can throw on one of these playlists. And speaking of playlists, actually, my boy Jalen, he recommended this. It was a playlist on Apple Music, and it's just like a high vibration. Blah, blah. Why can't I say that? High vibration. Why does that sound funny? Vibration. Am I saying that right? All right, so high vibes. So that's the name of the playlist, and he recommended a few songs to me. And man, when I tell you these songs they're fire. It's a little something different from what I was used to listening to. So initially I was like, but I gave it a chance. And as I kept listening, I was like, yo, these songs really like they uplifting. And so shout out Jalen for even putting me up on that playlist. And actually, you know what? I'm a do y'all a solid. It's not a bunch of songs on this probably. I'm not even gonna make up a number. Let me see. Let me pull my phone out. See how many songs on this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like 9. It's like 9 songs. It's a short playlist, but all of the songs on there are bangers. So I'm gonna drop a link to the playlist for y'all. I'm gonna put that in the description. So if y'all messing with it, just tap the playlist and check out a couple of the songs and see how you like it. You might find something on there. It's a little different again, like from what I normally listen to, but I end up liking it. So it's some of my go-tos when I'm just trying to feel inspired or something like that. So yeah, don't sleep on that, y'all. Get y'all a positive playlist going. Some songs, some podcasts. Hey, the personal development blueprint. You might want to put that in the rotation. We talk about positive stuff here, leveling up. So again, these things are put into play because we're not gonna be positive 24/7. I get that. I'm not just telling you to go out there and expect to be positive 24/7. The whole point of this episode was to give y'all some tools in case you do come across when you coming across people that are negative and stuff. So this last tip again was to surround yourself with positive influences. And there's a quote by one of my favorite speakers. His name is Jim Rohn, and he said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." So let that sink in, y'all. It's just basically just put a heavy emphasis on like the importance of choosing your company. So if you constantly hanging around people that's negative all the time, they probably don't even realize they doing it on purpose. But I don't put myself in those situations because I understand like as humans, we're creatures of habit. Like if you spending a lot of time around that, you're gonna start to pick up those habits. Have you ever just found yourself just in a conversation and then next thing you know, you part of the negativity too? Like, yeah, because this suck and life is terrible. You right. And like I've been in many of situations like that where it could have been a group of people talking, and my intentions was not to walk up and just become a negative person. It's like it happened right under under my nose. We can be talking about something, one thing, and the next thing you know, everybody talking, everybody hooping and hollering about how this is bad and this sucks and all this different things like that. So keep that in mind. That's why I say you want to minimize the amount of time that you're spending around that, because you may pick up some of those habits without even realizing it. Now, for the bonus, I did promise y'all a bonus tip. So let's go ahead and go over this. This one right here, I've seen results from it. I will say that I have seen results, and I see the potential of it. I see the potential of it. I still got a lot of work to do on this one, um, just because again, I do not like being around someone that's just constantly negative. But this tip right here, you can try this out because it can help you in some situations. And this tip is just practice empathy. So, empathy, for those that don't know, is just basically just putting your feet in the other person's shoes, just kind of seeing where they're coming from. And a lot of times, like negative people, they could be that they just going through a tough time, so sometimes just offering a listening ear or just giving them a kind word, it can help them feel supported, and that might even encourage them to shift their perspective or just shift the state that they're in. I've seen that happen before too. I do want to continue to practice this and get a little better at this, because I remember having conversation with somebody when I wasn't feeling my best, and afterwards I was like, dang, that really helped, So empathy, that's the bonus tip. Just put your feet in other people's shoes. However, put a limit on it. There's a thin line. That don't mean just open your doors and let everybody come and you putting your feet in everybody else's shoes. We ain't doing that. Yeah, that's the bonus tip. And before we wrap up, we're gonna take some action today. I just want I want to give y'all an action step before we go. I want y'all to identify one person in your life that you feel, everybody knows somebody. You know somebody. I know you know somebody. Might even be you. No, just kidding. But seriously, I want y'all to identify one person in your life and then choose one of the strategies that we discussed today, whether it's setting boundaries or just understanding where they're coming from, or just surrounding yourself with some positivity. Just take that small step towards a more uplifting environment, we'll call it. That is my call to action to y'all. And again, we're going to wrap things up. Remember the three keys, y'all. Understand negativity. Y'all just stuff that people are going through. If somebody's negative all the time, is not necessarily it doesn't mean that it's necessarily about you. It could be internal battles that they are having. And number two was set boundaries. This is super important. I know you want to be a good friend and everything, but you have to limit that. Don't just let people constantly come and dump on you the negative emotions or whatever it is, venting to you. Like, don't let them constantly do that over and over. And spend less time around negative people if you can. And then also steer conversations away from negative topics. That was the second one, setting boundaries. And then the third one was surround yourself with positive influence. Remember that quote what Jim Rohn said: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And our bonus tip, practice empathy. I'm still working on that, y'all. Maybe I'll give y'all an update in a couple episodes and I'm going to let y'all know if I got any better at it. But yeah, put your feet in other people's shoes. And yeah, that's going to wrap up the episode. We do have to talk about the next episode. What do we got coming up next for y'all after this? This episode ran long, y'all. These episodes getting longer and longer. That must mean that I am becoming a better podcaster. Nah, let me stop. But our next episode is one of my favorite things. And one of the best things that I could have ever done. And ever since I started, I have not stopped. So y'all have heard it before. It's probably a buzzword these days. Meditation. That can help you become level-headed. So stay tuned for that, y'all. You do not want to miss that episode. Thank you for joining us on the Personal Development Blueprint. We appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you picked up a nugget or two to supercharge your personal growth. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. We would love to hear some of your feedback. And remember, every little win counts on the road to becoming the best version of yourself. So stay focused, keep pushing forward, and you will keep leveling up. Key.